Hi, we're going to talk about researching Loraine Hansberry's A Raisin in the Sun. And there are two ways you can do that. Since it was produced in 1959 and was an award winner for that year, you can look for reviews of that time. You'll have to find a newspaper source to do that. You can also conduct secondary research on the play because over the years a lot has been written about it in the literature. So let's talk about two ways to do that. First, we'll start from your research guide, and I'm over in guides uh, using that tab, and then I'm just typed your professor's name, Fraser, in the research guide in the search box, and it's going to come right up. So make sure you go through the research strategies outlined here. Um, to find some criticisms on A Raisin in the Sun, you can just use the main library discovery service, and that's just on the main library website as well. In the Discover tab. So you could do that search here without going from the research guide. When you're looking for A Raisin in the Sun, make sure that you, in the sun. Make sure that you keep it in quotation marks, and that keeps it as a title. So then when we click on search, we're definitely looking for the play A Raisin in the Sun or performances of A Raisin in the Sun. It was redone, I think, recently, so this video copyrighted 2008 might be the more recent one. You'll have to look at it to see. If it prompts you to sign in, definitely do so because you're an active CFC student. And then you'll start seeing some ways to sort on the side. If you want criticisms of the play or the other performance, the most recent performance, you can click on peer-reviewed journals. You can also click on reviews, would be a good thing to look at. And the newspaper articles are probably criticisms. I'm not sure that they go back to the 1950s and 1960s. I'll show you another way to do that. Here's the actual book, A Raisin in the Sun, or you could search for videos. Right here, there are 13 videos of A Raisin in the Sun if you want to see it for yourself. So that was just using the main Discover tab to look for criticisms of A Raisin in the Sun. Part of your paper is placing it within the context of the time. So let's find out how to look for newspaper articles from the 50s and 60s. There's a special database that has newspaper articles, and so I'm going to click on databases. I'm going to go to the N for news, and I'm in the N's. There might be some other resources you can use too, but what I'm looking for is this historical New York Times. When I click on newspapers, a lot of times in that first discovery research, it doesn't go back to the 1950s or 1960s. The coverage isn't that extensive. So if I click on the New York Times historical research, and the same might be true with, say, with the Wall Street Journal, you might be able to find the Wall Street Journal for historical newspapers too in the W's. But click on this, and then again we're going to look for A Raisin in the Sun. And remember, it was on stage in 1959. And here's my search. Again, I can just put it in quotation marks to make sure it all shows up together. And I'm in the database, historical newspapers. Here is my date range. I've already set it to 1958. I want to probably put it 1958, say to maybe 1960. And so now I have 20 results. Stage-like version of A Raisin in the Sun that was written in March 1961. This particular title uses a term we don't use anymore. So that's historically, that puts it in context of its times. This was written in March 1959. So just look through the historical newspapers, and again, just to show you how I got there, I went to the databases from this tab, and in for newspapers, it was New York Times. I mentioned you might find a Wall Street Journal. Yeah, Wall Street Journal online. I don't know how far back that goes. You'll have to look for that to see. And definitely use your research guide, library guides. Remember I said search by Fraser. Use your research guide to look for other criticisms using any of these databases. JSTOR would be very good for a Raisin in the Sun. So would Literature Resource Center. And you can also use this main Discover tool to look up Loraine Hansberry as a subject, so you can find some biographical information. I think I spelled that correctly. Okay, I misspelled it, but it knows what I mean. So you can also find biographical information on her just by putting her name in, and you don't have to specify anything else, because once you put her name in, she's going to appear as a subject, and she's also an author. Okay, hope that helps. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact your librarian. My access is on that research guide.